All right, welcome to this week's Reddit reply. I'm excited to have you here, excited to dive into things. We won't take too long with an intro, but I do want to say if you want to support this channel, do me a huge favor, hit the like button, hit subscribe, all that fun stuff. Check out Patreon, check out Twitch, check out the Discord, everything else that's out there. Make sure to check it out. Greatly appreciate everyone that's been supporting the channel. Thank you very much. Let's dive into this week's Reddit reply. All right, if you haven't seen it yet, there has been a new D20 Sunday morning video thing that's happened. We did it way back when, and we're doing it again, but I'm taking more time to kind of explain the deck I'm using, the strategy, right, the thought process. So it's a little bit more methodical, a little bit slower, and I wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to the person who, mentioned this video and shared the video. I really appreciate it. Honestly, that's how like channels like this grow, right? Is not me just spamming it on Reddit or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's people that do that. And it's totally fine. That's how I got started too. But now at this point, when people share these videos or talk about them, it helps the channel that much more than it would just me doing it. So truly, thank you to those who share the videos, share the information. I really appreciate it. So thank you. Also, I'll let you know right now, this Sunday, there will be another one. I know I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be every single week or anything, but it definitely will be this week. It's going to be Wasp versus Red Skull. So make sure to look out for that, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. All right, so getting to a Reddit reply, making an order from buy the same token question, looking at making a large purchase from their site, which you should do because you get free shipping. So that's the smart way to do it. Just curious if there are additional import fees or anything for the US. I don't want to get hit with any surprises when spending that much. So yeah, the orders come from England to the US. There's no surprises. I've made a ton of orders from them, and whatever you pay on their website, like that's what you pay. You're done. It will show up at your house eventually. Yeah, there's nothing else really to know. It does take a while. I will warn you, it will take a while to get to you. So just FYI on that. But it won't, like, there's no, like, the post office has never come to me for like another fee, or it's like, hey, you have to pay more for when you get it. None of that exists. You pay all of it up front like you buy anything else. It just takes a while to get to you. My wife approves. Got her to play the game yesterday. She picked Ghost Spider and went with Miles up against Rhino. Once she got a hang of the card, she really enjoyed it, so I have to play in a group of two. She did not like Lord of the Rings, and I taught her that years ago. This is awesome to see because this is literally the same exact thing that's happened on this channel. For those that don't know, I guess it was last Friday, we had novels on. My wife, never enough novels, and she played Marvel Champions for the first time and loved it. Absolutely loved it. We also played against Rhino. We played a Gamora Star-Lord kind of thing going on. It was tons of fun. We will be playing again tonight. If you're watching this on Friday, we'll be playing again tonight. And we're definitely going to get the game into rotation more often because she really loved it. I think it's a great game to teach people. So this person right there with you, my wife approves it too. And for those of you that are like, hey, I want my significant other to like it, it took me about 3 years to convince her, but we got there. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Any tips for Valkyrie? Looking at you, D20. They recently picked up Valkyrie and then wanting to join in on the spoils of the GOAT, as D20 always mentions in his videos, because fact check true. I tried her a few times against Claw. I'll bite with the Dooms. I'll bite. I can't talk today. But they did with the Doomsday Share module that made it so much more difficult, which don't do that. Not your first time. Not till you learn the process of the GOAT. The first two games with Star-Lord, the first two games were with Star-Lord because I also just got him, wanted to try him out. Got destroyed because I had no thwarting ability and was way too aggressive with Star-Lord. That will ruin your day. Then I tried Valk solo with the same villain and module. Started off pretty good, and a few bad draws later, and she was looking at 3 armored guards, 2 weapon runner, a MODOK, with Doomsday Chair in play. Way too much to deal with. So I have videos on this. If you go to my page and just search Valkyrie, you'll see the videos. One thing I will recommend, though, again, is make sure you don't attach Death Glow until you're ready, right? Like, there's no reason all these guards and weapon runners should exist. Like, she can easily slay all of them, right? If you had Dragon Fang out there and you just used your 5 cards to attach Death Glow over and over, she'll just keep readying it up, right? So like 5 people right here are done. Like, they're done. Like, that's 4 damage you're doing to each one. Armor Guard's not going to survive it. Well, I guess if they have tough, they would, so you have to figure that out. But regardless, the weapons runner's gone, right? Armor Guard, you should be able to like, hopefully do some damage and get rid. Like, there are ways around this, and maybe you might need a piercing thing or something like that for the armor guards. That's a fine argument, but it should never really get stacked that bad because she's readying up so much. So yeah, and then Modok, I mean, you have to kind of do 2 hits with Modok, or you just do have at her main attack and actually get rid of it. But just stick with it, but don't attach Deathglow until you're ready for it to be immediately returned to you. That's my biggest advice, is make sure you don't do that. And stick with Dragon Fang. Dragon Fang is like kind of a must-have. Tough allies and consequential damage. Does anyone else find that allies with tough rarely feel great to play since you can't attack or thwart the first round removing tough? And I talk about would getting rid of it impact the game. I actually don't mind it. It puts a spin on how I want to do things. Because here's the thing, it's not stopping me from attacking. It's just delaying it a turn. Well, I guess 2 turns. Because I'm just gonna take the block with the tough, and then next turn, right after that turn, they ready up, and then I can use in the following turn to attack and thwart. Like I'm just gonna wait a little bit. That's all it really turns into. So for me, it's more of a strategy thing. Like I get their argument. It does stink that like you would knock off your own tough. But for me, it doesn't really matter because I'm just looking at it as, okay, the way you play this is a bit different. So the strategy to it has to be a bit different. So this way, not every single ally feels completely the same. So I like that tough allies would lose their tough if they get hit with consequential damage. That doesn't bother me. But I can get it stinks in the moment when you don't want that to happen, right? Looking for fun aggression deck without rush. Hey champions, I love this game and have a large collection of pretty much everything. Mainly play true solo. Let's go. So far, I'm enjoying all aspects. The one except aggression. It's really hard to make it work without a rush intent in true solo. I prefer control decks. Do any have suggestions for a hero with a fun aggression deck that will work true solo and it's not a rush strategy? So I personally play a lot of aggression that isn't rush. Like I do like a weird tempo thing, like in between rush and control. So I'm not all the way to control. So I don't know if I'm the best person to argue this. With the exception of Deadpool, I feel like you can do this with any hero that's okay at rush. Lean into minion builds, right? So like you have a card like Angela. After Angela enters play, search top 10 cards, and put a minion in play, and then you get the power in play, right? Or if you use Looking for Trouble, discard cards on the top of the encounter deck until you discard a minion, and put that engage with you, remove 3 threat from the main scene. And things like this that get you kind of that more minion building, I think is pretty cool. So this way you can get more card draw. You can do different things. Like if you're playing Valkyrie, you can ready up more. You can whatever, right? I think different minion builds, and there's good decks out there. I'm not going to go into detail about it in this type of video, but maybe in the future I'll do a video more about this. But you could do some good like minion draw type builds and draw a lot of cards. You can also do Guardian stuff with using something like Energy Spear. So you could do kind of like a build out on an ally, do like a Voltron build, right? When you're trying to make that ally as strong as possible, you could do that with aggression cards and make it like, so they're swinging a ton, which actually can be really fun and really cool. And then use cards like First Aid to heal them up so they don't get themselves knocked out. So that's a couple ways you could do it. Personally, for me, it's aggression will always be somewhat tempo based, right? Like it's never going to be a full control. I know again, people with minion builds will do it with like Hall of Heroes and flip it down, and they figure it out how to do it. Especially Psylocke now ally, you can confuse with an aggression hero, so that helps a lot. So like stuff like that can be done. I'm just not good enough at playing like true control games with aggression, so like I'm not the best person to speak to this, but I will say start with like the idea of controlling minions. I think that will get you pretty far and at least get you down a different path that's not like a rush path. Does Deadpool's starting deck need to be improved? Okay, so just got Deadpool. I think his design is fantastic, as I really dig his high risk, high reward playstyle. I played him for the first time and got absolutely clobbered by Musion Formula. Now it was my first time playing him. I'm sure I did stuff wrong, but it made it seem like I couldn't keep up with the acceleration tokens. So I'm assuming they're playing with the pool aspect. I think that's half the problem. Is the pool aspect I think is trash. I don't like it. I don't like the pool aspect. I don't think it's fun. There's a few interesting things in there, like there is, but I'm not interested in it. I don't want it. As far as Deadpool, I don't like Deadpool. I don't like the way he plays. I think using those 2 cards to just deal yourself a ton of damage and then using the other card that counts up how much damage you done, like it's too powerful and just play rush. I don't like the whole acceleration token thing. So I think this is the big problem, is his acceleration token. But I will say that his precon is bad for him because I think it's too much bad stuff going on. I think him in a different aspect is okay, but pool aspect makes things so difficult in general that you don't need that, plus Deadpool already making things difficult in general. So that's kind of how I look at it. And most precons like aren't that great. They're not all terrible. There's some fine ones, but the most of them are not that great anyway. So there's that too. But yeah, so you kind of need to build out with them and do your own thing. But yeah, every starting deck probably needs to be improved. Like most of them are not that great. Sixth aspect, since I'm not a fan of the pool aspect. Amen. Me neither. I'm just curious if anyone thinks there's room for one more aspect in the game. I'm not sure if it's possible, but I feel like designers are very creative and can possibly figure something out. I've seen a lot of creative ideas from people in this community, and I'm curious if anyone thinks there's possibility or if they have any cool ideas. I think a sixth aspect is absolutely possible. I want them to truly expand on it, though. Like, I think if you did a sixth aspect, I would want to see it in a box expansion, not a like pack expansion like Deadpool was. I think the problem with the Deadpool or the pool aspect is that there's not going to be much support for it because it comes with an extra encounter set, and that just leads into other issues with logistics. So I think the pool aspect won't get much support over the years, and I think that's what's going to hurt it. If you're going to do a sixth aspect, I want them to like really do it, right? I want them to come up with a bunch of cards and continue to support those cards. Could it be done? I absolutely think it can be done. Will they do it? I don't know. I'm not convinced they will. I think the reception of the pool aspect has been pretty negative overall. And I know they design like a year or two in advance or whatever it is nowadays. I'm sure it's changed. But I'm sure to design a new aspect takes a lot of space and a lot of creativity. And I'm sure they got the feedback, and not all of it's negative, but there was a lot of negativity with it, for better or for worse. And I think hopefully it makes them realize that not that they shouldn't do a sixth aspect, but there are things that need to be like improved upon. And I think the biggest one is to like support the sixth aspect, because we right now know of no plans to support the pool aspect, nor do I think they will. I mean, could they? Yes, they absolutely could. I know people will make that argument, but we don't know if they will. And it doesn't really seem like they would, because again, when you add an extra encounter deck that needs to be put in for the pool aspect, like it makes things kind of tough logistically to do, because you have to own that. And if you're going to reprint that over and over and over, it's going to take up space in future things. Like it just, there's logistical problems with it, is what I'm trying to say. So I hope they do a sixth aspect. I hope they don't get scared from the response to the pool aspect issues. But I hope they just like, they truly support it. Like I just want a lot more cards to it, especially from what we've seen from like the other four main aspects. Like it doesn't need to be that many cards, but like it should be in between that and the pool aspect, I would say. Fantastic Four, with the new unveiling of Fantastic Four from Marvel, can we please, for the love of Christ, get a Fantastic Four box, please? I'm sure we will. My money is still on this is the next box, right? I think Fantastic Four is next. I have no insider information. I know nothing. It's just a gut. And my gut has been wrong a lot. It's been right a lot too, but it's been wrong a lot. So my bet is Fantastic Four is actually going to be next. I don't think they're going to do Defenders. I know that's what everyone wants. I don't think they're going to do Defenders for a little while still, just because I think Daredevil is going to come in that cycle, and Daredevil is like their last massive moneymaker that people have been asking for. That's not to say that Marvel Champions is dead or the other stuff won't make money. Of course it will. That's not to say that after Daredevil comes out, the game dies. Of course it won't. But that is, I feel like the one last massive pack that like people are waiting for, right? They're really waiting for Daredevil. And I think it makes sense that the last one they had was Deadpool. You want like a gap between those two things, I think personally. So my guess is that Defenders will be like, if the next one is going to be Fantastic Four, right? Obviously, the next one's X-Men. But after that, it's Fantastic Four, I think something. And then I think it's going to be the Defenders. I think the Defenders can actually go like 2 cycles, maybe 3 cycles, depending on how they do things. But I think that's what it's going to be, personally. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this week's Reddit reply. The questions are starting to slow down because we're all kind of waiting for Age of Apocalypse right now. So I don't know if next week there's going to be a Reddit reply. Maybe there will. We'll see what the talk is on Reddit. Maybe there will, maybe there won't, but there'll definitely be a video up on Friday. So, but once again, I do want to thank everyone that watches these videos, that subscribes to the channel. And if you haven't yet, you should definitely do that. Hit the button. It's really easy. It's free. It helps me out a ton. Like just hit the button. It's really chill. But hopefully everyone has enjoyed these videos, and like I said, truly thank you all for the support. The outpouring of support in the past like month has been crazy. It's been really awesome. I can't thank you all enough. So truly thank you. Because without you all, like I'm not here. This doesn't happen. So I'm gonna put a video not on that side. It's gonna be up on this side. I don't know what video it is yet because I'm gonna have the algorithm just pick one for you. So hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it's a great video, and I will see you all next time.